The story unfolds in the snowy landscapes of Sweden, where a man named Jack is trying to leave his violent past behind. Once a feared assassin, Jack now dreams of a peaceful life with his girlfriend, Ingrid. However, she knows nothing about his dangerous history. One crisp morning, Jack and Ingrid decide to take a walk through the snow-covered woods. As they stroll, they notice fresh footprints in the snow. Ingrid suggests they might belong to hunters, but Jack, with his sharp instincts, feels something isn't right. His senses tell him danger is close. Sure enough, Jack suddenly grabs Ingrid and pulls her behind a tree just as bullets whiz past them, coming from the shadowy forest. Ingrid is stunned when Jack pulls out a hidden gun and, with a single, accurate shot, takes down the attacker. The shooter collapses to the ground, lifeless. With a grave expression, Jack tells Ingrid to run back to their house and call the police. As she turns to leave, the weight of the moment hangs in the air. Jack knows his secret life is about to be exposed. Not far away, another assassin waits in a car, expecting his partner to return. Unexpectedly, Jack doesn't hesitate. In response, he deals with this second threat swiftly, determined to keep Ingrid safe. Realizing he can't stay, Jack decides to flee the country immediately. He heads to Rome, Italy, an ancient city, to meet his old friend Pavel. Upon arriving, Jack explains the terrifying encounter in Sweden and insists that Ingrid is innocent. Pavel, always practical, remains skeptical about Ingrid's role in all this. Pavel then promises to handle the people chasing Jack, but warns him not to stay in Rome for long. Soon, they devise a plan for Jack to hide in a small, secluded town called Castelvecchio. Not only that, Pavel also arranges a car for Jack, and he sets off on his journey. When Jack arrives in Castelvecchio, he finds the town too quiet and dull for his liking. Feeling restless, he makes a sudden decision. He turns his car around, tosses the phone Pavel gave him, and drives to a more vibrant town named Castel del Monte. There, Jack starts a new chapter of his life. He rents a modest apartment and introduces himself as Edward, though the locals simply call him the American. To blend in, Jack adopts a daily routine that helps him hide his true identity. He visits the local cafe, carries a camera, and pretends to be a photographer, capturing the beauty of his surroundings. But despite the calm, Jack can't shake his past. He keeps a close watch on Castelvecchio through binoculars, always on edge, fearing danger might be lurking nearby. Jack's constant alertness makes him jumpy. Even the sound of a neighbor's scooter startles him, making him think it's gunfire. One morning, while struggling with a stubborn vending machine, Jack meets Father Benedetto, a kind-hearted priest. At that moment, Jack admits he's not good with machines, and Father Benedetto offers to help. The two then strike up a conversation, where the priest, curious about Jack's life, invites him over for wine later that evening. Jack hesitates, but Father Benedetto reassures him, saying that priests often see more than people realize. Later, Jack uses a payphone to call Pavel. Once connected, Pavel immediately expressed his annoyance that Jack threw away the cell phone, but he still offers him a new job, one that doesn't involve killing. Instead, Jack would craft a special weapon for another assassin, allowing him to avoid the bloodshed. In the end, Jack agrees to consider the offer. That evening, Jack keeps his promise and visits Father Benedetto for wine. Their conversation takes an unexpected turn when the priest asks why Jack prefers taking photos of Italy rather than learning about its history. Father Benedetto suggests that Jack, as an American, might be trying to escape history and focus only on the present. As days pass, Jack travels to Sulmona, a picturesque town with cobblestone streets and charming shops. There, he quietly observes Matilda, a mysterious woman. From a distance, Jack watches her closely, trying to understand her intentions. Fate brings them together when Matilda sits at a cozy cafe. Seizing the opportunity, Jack takes a seat at the table next to hers. A simple gesture, like picking up her dropped newspaper, confirms to Matilda that Jack is the skilled gun maker she's been searching for. The two then speak in hushed tones, where Matilda explains the details of the weapon she needs. Jack agrees to the job, but warns her about a suspicious figure watching them. Though Matilda claims she's working alone, Jack's instincts tell him to stay cautious. When Jack returns to his small, quiet home, he finds it hard to sleep at night. Every tiny sound makes him jump, and he instinctively reaches for his gun, always on edge. Over the next few days, Jack visits the post office and picks up an important package. Inside are the parts he needs to build a secret weapon. Soon after, Jack begins assembling it with great care, completing the first steps with precision. However, he still needs a few more pieces to finish the silencer, a reminder of how intricate and demanding his task is. As evening settles over the town, Jack heads to a lively spot, a place where people go to have fun, like a bawdy house. There, he meets Clara, a call girl. Just being near her makes him feel alive, even if it's only for a brief moment. Her presence offers him a temporary escape from the tension that fills his life. In an unexpected turn of events, Jack helps Benedetto, the local priest, whose car has broken down. Grateful for the assistance, Benedetto invites Jack to his home for dinner. Upon arriving, they sit in the warm glow of flickering candles, and the priest shares stories about his deep connection with the townspeople. When they come across a photo of Fabio, the local mechanic, both men grow uneasy. Fabio seems like a good person, but there's a hint that he might be involved in something shady. As they talk, Jack wonders if Benedetto ever wanted more out of life than being a priest. In return, Benedetto asks Jack if he ever thought about being more than just a photographer. Their conversation reveals that both men have led complex and mysterious lives, filled with choices and paths that are far from ordinary. The next day, Jack deliberately damages his car and takes it to Fabio's garage. At first, Fabio is hesitant to help a stranger, especially one from another country. But when Jack mentions that he knows Benedetto, Fabio's attitude changes. At that moment, Jack pretends to be passionate about cars and asks Fabio for parts to fix a broken drive shaft. Fabio's hesitation fades, and he even offers the parts for free. Later, while searching the garage for the pieces he needs to complete the silencer, Jack stumbles upon something surprising. He finds a photo that looks exactly like the one Benedetto had shown him. It's like a quiet clue in a larger, unsolved mystery. On his way home, Jack runs into Clara, who is on her way to church. As a result, they share a playful, flirty glance. Back at his small home, Jack continues working on the secret weapon, carefully crafting the silencer. By nightfall, he finishes it with precision. The following day, Jack heads to the forest to test the rifle, making sure it works perfectly. That evening, he returns to the bawdy house, but Clara isn't there. Instead of seeking someone else's company, Jack leaves alone. Not long after, Jack visits a local cafe and notices someone watching him. The cafe clerk then hands him an envelope containing a newspaper article. The article tells a dark story about an event in Sweden, a place Jack had left behind. When Jack returns to his apartment, he feels uneasy and decides to change his plans, keeping his gun close as he sleeps. The following days, Jack goes to the train station to meet Matilda, who's wearing a different wig to disguise herself. Jack then takes her to a hidden spot in the forest near the river, a place he believes is known only to him. But Matilda remains cautious. She immediately checks for footprints or tire marks, worried about leaving any trace of their secret activities. Jack then lays out a picnic blanket, careful to hide any evidence in case the police investigate later. Once everything ready, he shows Matilda the rifle he's built, and she proves to be skilled at assembling it. Matilda then requests special bullets filled with mercury and brings her own target, demonstrating her expertise and fearlessness. Matilda trusts Jack and challenges him to shoot at some nearby flowers from a distance. Unexpectedly, Jack's aim is precise, and the silencer works so well that Matilda can't even tell where the shots are coming from. Impressed, she asks for a few final adjustments and sets a plan for the delivery next month. In the end, they exchange money, and Jack disposes of the bullet casings by throwing them into the river. Not only that, he also spills wine on the grass to cover their tracks, making sure the wine is cold, as is the local custom. At one moment, a butterfly lands on Matilda's arm. Seeing this, Jack shares some interesting facts about the butterfly, and Matilda playfully calls him Mr. Butterfly. She teases him, asking if he's brought another woman to this secret spot before. Jack firmly denies it. As night falls, Jack returns to the bawdy house, seeking comfort in Clara's company. She also calls him Mr. Butterfly, this time because of a tattoo he has. Moments later, Clara senses that Jack is carrying a heavy burden, but he believes she's just pretending to care, as she might with other customers. Jack then tells Clara to be herself and not put on an act for him. Not only that, Jack also leaves her a generous tip, and Clara realizes that she earns more from him than from all the other girls combined. The next day, Jack stays busy, carefully working on the rifle and the special mercury bullets, making sure everything is perfect. But he takes breaks to visit the local cafe, where he relaxes and chats with the townspeople. One sunny afternoon, Jack runs into Clara by chance. She's with her girlfriend, and they're on their way to the movies. They share a friendly conversation, and Clara hints that she's free on Wednesday, subtly trying to find out where Jack wants to meet. Jack, however, is cautious and doesn't want to reveal their secret meeting spot in front of Clara's girlfriend. He hesitates, unsure of what to say. Clara, quick and clever, suggests they meet at a restaurant instead, teasing him playfully as she does. As night falls, Jack heads back home, aware that the person who's been watching him isn't just observing anymore, they're now following him. In response, Jack steps into a dark alley, quietly removes his shoes, and prepares to confront his pursuer. Armed with a gun, he's ready to act fast. But the situation takes an unexpected turn when a neighbor on a scooter accidentally enters the alley. In the chaos, the person chasing Jack opens fire, killing the scooter rider. Seeing an opportunity, Jack grabs the keys from the fallen rider, jumps on the scooter, and chases after his enemy. What follows is a tense, high-speed pursuit through the town's narrow, winding streets. At one moment, Jack desperately tries to take down his target, but his shots keep missing, and the enemy keeps slipping away. It's only when they reach the edge of town that Jack finally hits the enemy's car, causing a tire to burst and sending the vehicle off the road. As a result, Jack approaches, disarms the man, and takes his gun. After the confrontation, Jack calls Pavel, his voice filled with worry. He tells Pavel that the Swedes who've been chasing him are back and demands to know how they found him again. Pavel's response is cryptic, suggesting that Jack's skills have slipped, a chilling reminder of the dangerous world Jack can't seem to escape. That night, Jack finds no peace. Haunted by memories of Ingrid's death, he tosses and turns, unable to sleep. Even though it's still early, he leaves his apartment and wanders the dimly lit streets, lost in thought. In a surprising encounter, Jack meets Benedetto, a man who follows his morning routines and prays for the souls of the departed. Jack, always blunt, says that everyone has done bad things at some point. Benedetto, who understands human flaws, disagrees. He explains that those who seek peace often carry the heaviest burden of sin, hinting at Jack's own troubled past. When Jack mentions a recent death nearby, Benedetto offers to hear his confession. Jack deflects with a joke about Fabio's family background, but Benedetto admits he's made mistakes too. He values having someone special in his life, a stark contrast to Jack's lonely existence. Later that evening, Jack meets Clara at a restaurant. He's impressed when Clara confidently handles a waiter who assumes Jack should order for her because of her gender. In the end, Jack admires her strength even more. Later, as they sit together, Jack buys a flower from a passing vendor, which makes Clara playfully protest. She sees it as a sweet gesture, even though the vendor assumes they're a couple. Clara senses there's something mysterious about Jack, but when he tells her he's not married, her curiosity is satisfied. After dinner, they go to Clara's apartment, where their connection deepens. Jack, however, grows curious and looks through Clara's belongings. He finds a hidden gun in her purse, which makes him question the new romance they've started. The next day, Jack finishes his preparations. He packs a suitcase with office supplies to secretly hide the rifle. With his task complete, Jack begins a covert plan to follow Clara, trying to uncover her true intentions. He watches her talk to various men, unsure if they're clients or part of a larger scheme. Jack then decides to ask Pavel for more time before completing his job. However, Pavel, as always, agrees, setting the stage for the mysterious events that follow. In the afternoon, Jack takes Clara to their secret spot in the forest for a peaceful picnic. When Clara sees the river, she gets excited, strips off her clothes, and jumps in to swim. At that moment, Jack stays on the shore, watching. Soon after, Clara finds some bullet casings in the water and assumes they're from hunters. In response, Jack picks them up and tosses them away, trying to keep things normal. During their picnic, a sudden noise from Clara's purse startles Jack. He instantly becomes alert, reaching for his hidden gun, ready to defend himself. But it's a false alarm. Clara was just reaching for her sunscreen. Though the tension eases, an argument follows. Clara explains that she carries a gun for self-defense, as there's a danger to call girls from an unknown killer. Jack eventually accepts her explanation and relaxes. Clara then asks Jack if he'll join her for the town's upcoming event. At first, Jack hesitates, saying he needs time to think about it. Not stopping there, Clara pushes for more than just secret meetings, suggesting they date openly. But Jack firmly refuses, reminding her that he won't be staying for long. Suddenly, Clara tries to change his mind with a passionate plea and a kiss, but Jack remains unmoved. Back at his apartment, Jack sits alone, thinking about Clara's request for them to run away together. After some thought, he decides to take action. Jack calls Pavel and tells him that once the delivery is complete, he wants to leave the dangerous world of assassins behind for good. Pavel seems to agree, but after the call, he speaks privately with Matilda and gives her a secret mission. The next day, Jack meets Matilda at a small roadside cafe. She's wearing another wig to disguise herself. At that moment, Jack hands her a special container holding the mercury bullets. In response, Matilda takes the suitcase and excuses herself to go to the restroom, where she secretly prepares another hidden gun. As time passes, Jack grows more and more anxious. He feels nervous and isolated, his hand resting on the hidden weapon in his pocket. To stay alert, he steps outside for some air. When Matilda returns, she gives him the rest of the payment. Their conversation is brief and tense, cut short when a bus full of children arrives at the cafe. In the end, Matilda quickly leaves to avoid drawing attention. Later, Jack heads back to town, unaware that Matilda is following him closely. She calls Pavel, discussing his sinister plan. Unexpectedly, there is a lively parade in town, which fills the streets with crowds of people, creating the perfect cover for Matilda to carry out her mission. Soon, she sneaks into a house, silences the people inside, and climbs onto the roof to keep an eye on Jack. At the same time, Pavel arrives nearby, adding another layer of tension to the unfolding events. Amid the noise and excitement of the parade, Jack makes a life-changing decision. He tells Clara he wants to run away with her, just the two of them, leaving everything else behind. Clara, deeply in love, happily agrees to his heartfelt proposal. Their moment of love and hope is bittersweet, as they remain unaware of the danger closing in. In a tense and dramatic moment, Matilda takes aim at Jack, ready to shoot. But Jack had outsmarted her. He had tampered with her gun, causing it to backfire. Tragically, Matilda dies in the accident. When Jack sees Matilda's lifeless body, he realizes he's the target of a deadly plot. He quickly hands Clara the money and tells her to wait for him at their secret hideaway in the forest. Determined to uncover the truth, Jack confronts Matilda in her final moments and demands to know who sent her. With her last breath, she reveals the shocking truth. It was Pavel who ordered her to kill Jack. Suddenly, Benedetto appears, drawn by the commotion. Jack points his gun at the priest, but hesitates, remembering what happened with Ingrid. He lowers the weapon, apologizes to Benedetto, and then sets off to confront Pavel. Shortly after, Jack deliberately takes a risky path, leading Pavel into an empty alley. When Pavel gets close, he pulls out his gun, but Jack is quicker. He turns and fires, finally getting his revenge by killing Pavel. After defeating Pavel, Jack heads toward the forest to meet Clara. But the wounds from Pavel's attack begin to take their toll. Jack grows weaker with every step, his strength fading. Despite his failing body, his determination never wavers. In his final moments, Jack struggles to reach the forest. He sees Clara waiting in the distance and tries desperately to call out to her, but his voice fails him. Before he can say goodbye, his life slips away. So the moral of the story is, no matter how far you run, your past will always find you, especially if you keep making friends with shady people and dating women who mysteriously carry guns in their purses. Also, butterflies are nice, but they won't save you from bad life choices.